Okay, KonoSuba review. So this is in the isekai genre, which it basically means starting life in another world. And it got quite popular with things like Sword Art Online, where you go into a different fantasy world, basically. But this is a sort of a comedy parody of that. I like those fantasy RPG things, and this is a parody of the video game, particularly the Japanese video game style of having a mage with a big hat and that sort of thing. And when I saw that, I just wanted to watch it because I like that kind of video game theme. So because it's a parody of that, they use that as part of knowing that you're watching it because you're a nerd, because I'm a nerd. And they use it for that sake, and then they sort of make fun out of it. So not to go into any of the story or anything, but basically it doesn't work out for the main character how he would expect it to work out, going into essentially what he would think to be a video game, and everything just sort of goes wrong for him. I think sometimes it can be hard to do a comedy from Japan to the West. Maybe it doesn't always work for us, but this was just lighthearted and friendly, and I just liked it because of how lighthearted and friendly it was. It was just really easy watching, right? I liked the fantasy world because it was soft and there wasn't any like high fantasy or anything like that. The only problem with the program, I think, is that they always felt like they had to end with a kind of a punchline, right? So at the end of every episode, something would happen that would kind of undo what they'd done, and the main character would always be like, "Oh, what?" or something like that. And that was how they'd end it, so that they'd start again from sort of square zero again from the next episode, right? So I kind of felt a little conflicted with that, because there was a lot of, in a way, it was kind of warming. It was nice to have this almost cuddly, silly fantasy bouncing around, right? And then at the end, they just kind of go, oh, well, it's all kind of fallen down a hole. And it reminds me of this Monty Python sketch where they make a comment on this, because back in the day, sketches were like really funny, but then at the end, they always felt like they had the end of a punchline. And so Monty Python sort of made a point about that when they had a sketch. And I think I remember Graham Chapman says something like, at least we didn't say anything about the dirty knife. They're purposefully putting in a ridiculous punchline just to point out that it wasn't needed. And I felt like that was the same here. It wasn't needed. They can start from square zero because they can start from square zero. They don't need that thing at the end of every episode. It felt a little like it undermined the humility of the episode, maybe just a bit. And then, not to spoil, but when you get to the end of the series, it does it again at the end of the series, but they try and do it a little bit bigger because they're like, oh, it's the end of the series, so we'll just do this punchline again. But that was even worse. It was like, I just watched all of that, and now you just gone plop. You know, that doesn't mean I dislike it at all. I do like it. It's a nice thing. It's just a fun little watch in the middle of maybe between other things. It's comfy, I guess. It's comfy. It's just funny to have on. There are a lot of breasts in it. There's a lot of breasts flopping about, proper flopping about. Oh my goodness. Every time somebody turns around. Now, I know that it's Japanese. I know it's an anime, and that's just what you get when you get those kind of things. And it is a comedy, and it's clearly aimed at boys who shut themselves in their bedroom. So I am the target audience, although I don't resonate with the whole breast thing. There was one episode, I think it was just whole breast the whole episode. But I think the main character is also naked in that as well, and he was relatively fit in that. So I guess that balanced it out for me, I suppose. But so yeah, overall, I really liked it. It was comfy and it was fun. I do think that it was strange that it always tried to end of this thing. But on the flip side, when it gets to the end credits, I think those end credits are some of the best end credits I've seen in any anime for a while. I really like, it's really gentle, and they show really gentle scenery, and the characters, I don't know, wow, you'll just have to watch it and see. But when I see those end credits, I know all this stuff has happened in the episode, just stuff has happened, right? And yes, they ended with this weird, maybe punchline, but to see that end credits and to see it all back to just the comfy, lovely fantasy again, I just really liked it. So yeah, I definitely want to watch the second series, and I guess that I'll go ahead and give it a 7 out of 10. It was comfy and fantasy. It was a bit silly. So yeah, okay, 7 out of 10. There we go. KonoSuba. I never know how to end my videos exactly.